Look at this shit. Telling women to take one for the team is tone deaf in a patriarchal society which respects consent. Yeah, I didn't like this video. Biggest L I've seen him take in a while. When the f did I say that? What the hell? People are crazy about this shit. Why? Wait, repeat? I did a video where I said the world is objectively experiencing a lower average birth rate that seems to be caused by a wide variety of issues, and it is something to talk about. And for some reason, I guess people think I want to make camps? I don't know. It was when you mentioned pregnancy as a job, you described it as a civic duty? That's not asking women to take one for the team. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. I think that cleaning up litter is a civic duty. What is that? What's the relationship between those factors? It's already a civic duty. Like child rearing is a civic duty. It's so bad I'm arguing with people who genuinely think you said white genocide is real. I'm unironically going to make this like the hang up for the next 6 months. It's actually crazy how irrational people are about this. It's actually insane. We're doing the pro-natalist arc, yeah. I'm no longer an anti-natalist, but no thanks to Vosh. He is god-awful at arguing against it. He literally just says, be normal like an asshole. If this is where you're at in your life, man, you need more than just my videos. I'm not an anti-natalist anymore, but when he made fun of this joke of an ideology, that really rubbed me the wrong way. You gotta touch some grass. Also, I'm not mad. Also, a bunch of people here are like, dude, Vosh is an idiot for forgetting that the real cause of the lowered birth rates is that people don't have a hope for the future anymore. But birth rates have been going down for like 100 years. So that's not it. You're telling me like, why are people having fewer children in the 1970s? Oh, because they didn't hope for the future? What do you mean? That can't be it. We're talking about a very long-term change, not just the past like 15 to 20 years. People are crazy, man. These comments are on you too. The left actually needs to talk about birth rates falling below replacement rate. No, we don't. I understand policy wonks are scared of the downstream effects of this. Whatever, I don't really care. I just disagree there's any value in humanity existing in itself. Dude, why do you all act like Resident Evil villains when what the f is wrong with you? You're politicizing your, and all, like, policy wonks, dude, it's gonna affect real humans' lives. Like there are negative economic consequence. It's like gonna hurt real living people, like billions of people, if this goes unaddressed. It's a real problem. Like, why are you making us look like demons? What the f? Midas with the correct take as always. That's true. It's just people. It's people politicizing their depression, man. I'm sorry. You need to stop making your neuroses my problems. Like, look at this. Okay, let's say the population lowers a bit. So what? I'd rather have women have rights and stuff. This dynamic has been polarized to an extent, like an insane, I don't know, me when I'm Thanos. I didn't realize all the people making those low IQ Thanos was right the whole time arguments were like internet anarchists. That's crazy. Like, dude, literally, what the f? I can't believe they're falling below replacement rates. It's almost as if the generation now dying out were part of some boom, some baby boom, like the perhaps baby boomers. But no, it's probably a Jewish plot or whatever. What the hell? For one, no, the global population decline isn't about the baby boomer generation from 70 years ago. And for two, what the f? Mentioning this instantly like Nazi? Oh my God. What the hell? To be fair, Vosh can put his foot in his mouth sometimes. The crazy thing is, though, like, I genuinely didn't make any crazy statements in that rant that I did. Like, I just didn't. I said that there are legitimate, genuine, empirical consequences to a declining population. It's worth talking about. The causes for this are probably that people are just not that interested in having kids. Like, just there's more to do in life than having kids. Whereas it used to be like, you kind of didn't really have a choice because people just got pregnant when you and people do like. And I said anti-natalists are stupid. None of these positions should be controversial. This is a false issue. The population globally is growing and it'll reach 10 billion by the end of the century at this point. The decline of birth rates in select countries can be easily solved through open borders. This is like evading the point massively. The rate of birth is declining in every single country on earth very rapidly. Like, you can't just, oh, well, we'll just keep bringing people in from, you know, Nigeria or Burkina Faso. Like, sure, and I'm fine with that, but that's not really, like, what we're talking about. We're not talking about the broader issue then. Like, what happens when Burkina Faso and Nigeria have lower birth rates? This is just a straight up neoliberal talking point. It is actually. It's like a blasé dismissal of real material conditions in favor of the like nothing ever happens, the economic conditions will stabilize everything, so on and so forth. Vosh, I think only parts of Africa are set for a while. No, all of Africa's population or replacement rate, fertility rate is plummeting. And I don't blame them. Raising kids, that shit's difficult. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, the 2100 projections have been lowered. I went through it this morning and it's obvious a lot of people haven't watched the vid. Ah, classic. Classic. Declining birth rates are actually a problem that's been talked about multiple times. Yeah, wait, why is it that I don't get any shit when I talk about the internationally uncontroversially recognized problem that China has with their population curve? That their population declined for the first time in like ever recently. And everyone acknowledges that's like a major issue for their economy. And I've brought it up a million times, and that's fine. Declining birth rates are a scathing indictment of neoliberalism. I think it's more like fundamental than that. This is the kind of person you're arguing with? Not surprising in the slightest, considering he thinks white genocide is a serious threat. I did see some discourse online today, and there was someone who was like, Vosh, isn't he irrelevant now? Or something to that effect. Which is like, it is crazy how much people's opinions of the online fabric are shaped by like the brief, like the moments their head breaks the surface of the water and they get a gasp of air. Streams are doing better than ever. Yeah, we're literally the channel's doing better than ever. It's just the last time they heard about me was the last time a bread tuber made a video about me, which they don't anymore because they realized I'm the unsinkable ship, and also I'm right about everything. People are so goddamn deranged. But Vosh is also lying? That's true. Do we solve the child crisis by making childcare cheaper? I don't think there's like a simple solution. I think it's a very complicated issue. But that's all I was saying, man. People are crazy about this. They're like, oh, you think this objective, this like objective verifiable problem is a real problem? Well, you must be a neo-Nazi. Like, I don't know. At least you have some shooters in the comments for you. Yep. One Vosh only tells truths and one Vosh only tells lies. You know which one you got. I feel like this video is probably one of the bad... We're about to move on. I feel like this video is probably one of the bad ones. Like, I agree with a lot of takes and a lot of points, but the issue surrounding birth rates, I feel like Vosh, many people in this comments have a rather big misunderstanding. A large portion of European incentives aren't actually that good, at least not believed or expected. No, it's people picking at the edges here. They're like, well, we don't know if financial incentives really make a difference because Finland only gives every pregnant mother $50,000 instead of $500,000, so we don't know actually. It's just, that's clearly not... That's not the issue, man. You can address, like, the margins of the curve, but, like, can we be real here? The reason you guys aren't having kids isn't because you're poor. Poor people have had kids for all of human history. The reason you're not having kids is because that shit sucks. If you wanted to have kids, you can make it happen. There are poor people in this country today who make it work, despite being very, very poor, okay? You're not having kids because it's just not interesting to you. You don't want to have 18 years of your life chained to a very difficult, expensive obligation. And if it was money, then wealthy people would be having more kids, but they don't. It's just difficult. Having kids is gay. Yeah, that's pretty true. Kids are amazing. Yeah, it's like pretty cool, but like it's also difficult to raise them. I think something people aren't addressing is that people who have kids are having fewer kids. Yeah, and wealthy people are having fewer kids, and people in poor countries are having fewer kids, and people in wealthy countries are having fewer kids. People who get material benefits having fewer kids, people who don't have material benefits getting fewer kids. Everyone everywhere, all at once, at the same time, across the board, uniformly, with basically no exceptions, are having fewer kids. It's obviously not something as simple as like, well, if they got $5 more off the government in a tax rebate or whatever. I think it's just them damn iPhones, you know? Kids are hiring. A lot of work. Is Vosh going to put his money where his mouth is and have like 4 kids? I'm sorry, where do you, like, this is a very common, I'll call it what it is, and feel free to feel like defeated by this, but this is a logical fallacy that you're engaging in right now, and I'm smarter than you. You're implying that I'm suggesting this is a personal failing on your part. I also don't have any kids. I could afford to have kids, by the way. Why don't I have kids? I've got other stuff going on. I still like the idea of having kids, but like, yeah, it's a lot of work, and it really dominates your life, and there's a lot of stuff going on in my life. There's a lot of stuff that I love doing. You know? I don't think there's anything morally right or wrong about wanting to have kids. I'm just talking about the broader demographic ramifications of people having fewer kids. I don't give a what what race the kids are, what nationality. I'm not talking about wealth or poverty, whatever. I'm just talking a very cross the board tendency, you know? Do you think Tinder and stuff have a part to play? No. Divorce rates are down, actually. Weren't divorce rates at their lowest in like the 2000s? Or sorry, highest in the 2000s. Village living. Well, my argument has always been that people would be more willing to have kids if children were raised somewhat communally, because that would put a lot of the pressure off new parents, right? Rather than you needing like your whole life for nearly 20 years being dedicated to supervising an idiot, an expensive idiot who has like so many needs, you know, you can kind of like refer to a collective group attitude. That's how we did it in the tribal days, and even to an extent in feudal times, depending on the society. But yeah, you can't just snap your fingers and go back to that in an instant. We've been moving away from that for a while. What if kids were more like other animals and they could do shit instead of being an immobile blob for the first year? That's what I was saying, man. That's what if kids popped out and they were like yoked up and they could do like little backflips, then it'd be way easier to have a kid, because you could have a kid and then you'd be like, all right, go get a job. And the kid would be like, all right. Like the main problem here, I think, is that kids just like suck, like stats wise, like in a tier zoo kind of way. Oh man, you filled your army up with babies? You got 20 army slots and 16 of them are babies? Have you checked the stats on those motherfuckers? They're not even going to make it to the other side. They're not even going to engage in combat to begin with. They're going to get picked off before they even get there. Yeah, kids got over-nerfed is what I'm saying. There are 8 billion people on this planet. How's depopulation issue? You have to use your brain more before you type. This is like a problem that humans have had for a long time, and you're kind of living it, and you need to work on it, all right? You need to improve your cognition. Think, okay? It's not about how many there are now. It's about the relationship between how many there are now and how many there will be in the future. It's like saying, who cares if the butterflies are dying off? Aren't there like 15 trillion? Yeah, but if there's 14 trillion next year, that implies like a 8% decrease in the transference of pollen, which could starve countries. Use your head. Genuinely curious, between no one having kids, the population dying off, and government forcing people to have kids when no one wants to. What's the lesser evil here? I genuinely do not think that. I think it's a false dichotomy. I don't think it would ever come to that. There are literally like there are governments that have tried versions of this. It doesn't even work. Like Russia had those teen fertility camps. Shit like that doesn't even work, man. I think the solution to this would be like more expansive and far-reaching than you could imagine, but it would have to be like, you would have to, we're talking about a global trend. It can't be a government program. Like, oh yeah, it turns out humanity is destined to go extinct unless your government does this one program. What? No. This needs to be like this has to be like a broader shift, you know? It's a very materialist sense, you know, technological advancements and the relationship between the worker and their labor have fundamentally changed the role of parenthood, the extent to which parents are isolated from society. You need a material solution that goes beyond policy. You need like a fundamental, like a seismic shift, a reckoning. The same way that the capitalism isn't just a policy, right? It's like a global ideology that's altered the way we think about time and labor. It's the microplastics. It's just not. It's objectively not. I'm sorry. Microplastics aren't the reason why the birth rates have been consistently falling in industrialized countries for 100 years. They are the reason why you thought to type that out, though. Because of the like block up here in your head made of car tires. Why are you so worried about people not repopulating? Like we got to 8 billion from 20,000. I don't know what to do with you guys. Your defensiveness about the topic is making you say dumb shit. You're like engaging in mathematical errors that would get you flunked out of an 8th grade algebra class. You're not understanding the problem. Like I'm talking about it. You have to listen. You're right, but nobody's ready. I'm right, but nobody's ready to hear my position that life is worth living. And I mean, it's a hypothetical. Yeah, but hypotheticals are the devil. You can say any dumb shit from a hypothetical. I remember the cage argument. I remember. What would you rather have? Humanity dies of extinction, or the only way to keep humanity alive is to 1 billion rapes a day? Which do you think is worse? Because like morally, like at least humanity is around. Like I reject the. It's the guy in the leather jacket. Would you rather have a good economy or queer rights? I reject the premise. We can have both, you know? Yeah, stable economy or civil rights, yeah. I reject your premise, cure aging. What, and turn us all into gay elves? Yes? Can we be like a dwarf? I'd rather be a dwarf than an elf. So Vosh believes we're just going to go extinct, like, completely. Did you hear me say that? Where did you get that one from, out of curiosity? Wouldn't it make more sense to assume that the beliefs that I have are the ones that I've said rather than the ones that you've not heard me say? Have you seen how badly the pro-natalism policies in Hungary have flopped? Yeah, doesn't seem to work that well. Would you rather shit bricks or nails? That's a tough one. Has Vosh seen the Hank Green video 1000% agreeing with him in the birth rate thing? Really? Hank Green? No one could accuse him of being, well, I'm sure there are some people who say he's like a white supremacist or something. I don't want to watch the video. I'm already deep enough in the topic. That's because they haven't outpaced the cost of child affordability, not that policies haven't worked. No. You don't understand. You're not going to come up with a mythical policy that gives enough money to parents. It's not going to happen. Leaving aside like the economic viability, poor people have always had lots of kids. And today, wealthy people are having less kids. It's not about the money. It's just not about the money. Governments have already found no amount of money was enough to meaningfully increase the birth rate. Yeah, there's some things you can do, I think, with policy, but for the most part, it seems like it's more of a cultural attitude. Something like that. It's complicated. I mean, you could heavily tax people that don't have kids. Sure, but then we're getting into the coercive element, right? Then we're essentially forcing people to have kids, which doesn't... I don't like that. This isn't universal, though. There's heavy variance even within countries. There's not as much variance as you might think.